Let's go.
This video will expose you to proven managerial part that most large institutions and companies use in enhancing a peak performance workforce in their workplace. There are three key aspects which they use in enhancing their workforce to achieve a maximum result. And before then, what's peak performance? Peak performance is not a destination in the workplace. Peak performance is a journey that brings about improvements and adaptation. Now, for most organizations and enterprises that attain key peak performance, they do not achieve so by accident. They achieve a key performance by using a cultivated and intentional strategy, systems, and leadership's philosophy. Most of the organization, most of big companies that achieve peak performance workforce do so by maintaining a balance between the enterprise requirement and the workforce fulfillment. And there are few factors, there are few things that they considered, which is most of the organization consider using, and a logical, rational, emotional commitment to bringing about a peak performing workforce, which is good for sure, but it is not compared to an engaged emotional commitment. Now, in the aspect of the five managerial parts that are needed, that most companies use in enhancing key performing workforce, they are called, which I categorize them into five. They are called the missions value part. I call it the process and the metric part, the entrepreneurial spirit part, the individual achievement part, and the recognitions and celebration part. But before so, you have to understand that no enterprise can achieve its peak performing workforce when there is no direct and a very intentional strategy that will brings about that. And the difference between a peak performing workforce and a normal workforce is in the levels of energy, in the levels of emotional energy that has been committed by this staff. Now, going back to the five parts, managerial parts that brings about peak performing workforce. Now, the institutions that use the missions value part, which I call it the MVP, are institutions that take great delight in their institution accomplishment and institution aspiration. Such example of institutions is the American Johnson Space Center, that were able to launch their saving to space and spend over 1,000 hours in space in 1993. The second managerial part, the process and metric part. This is the part that most organizations follow. This part is based on a sound principle of individual accountability and thrive on a set rules and thrive on a set defined rules that translate corporate objective into individual goals. And people are all accountable. Using this part, people are all accountable for meeting up or not meeting up with numbers. And the such organization that use this part continue to develop and increase their number to exceed the competitors in competitions, being able to match their work or their capacity in the marketplace. Example of companies that or institutions that use this managerial part are the commercial banks. They are well known for using this managerial part. The third managerial part, which is the entrepreneurial spirit part, large corporations such as the American BNP Computers use this particular part to ensure to achieving a peak performing workforce in their workplace. Now, by this part, the organization believe that there must be an entrepreneurial spirit part in the company for individual to achieve a high performing workforce. There must be a high energy for individual to achieve a high performing workforce. And by this part, individual in the organization have a great opportunity of being part of the organization by being part of their owning part of the enterprise by what they develop and bring into the marketplace. Example of company we I said earlier, the example of company that use this managerial part are the American BMC computers. And we move to the fourth one, the individual achievement part. In the individual achievement part, the company that follows this point celebrate and reward individuals that achieve high performing workforce. Example of such organization or enterprise that use such managerial parts are the investment house like the Afri Invest, the City Trust Invest companies that which their brokers have to go all out to bring about a high investment opportunity to the company. And the last managerial part, which is the recognition and the celebration part. But before then, most organizations, from research that there is no organization that single-handedly use recognition and celebration part. Most of the organization either combine one or two managerial part and with the recognition and the celebration part in bringing about a peak performing workforce. And how do we generate a peak performing energy? How do we generate the energy? For organization, most of the organization, or if not all of the organization, large organization that generate a high performing workforce must either have a magnetic leaders with impossible dreams. It is believed that for a workforce to achieve a high peak performance, their leaders must be of high energy to be able to enforce some of the policies of the company for the individuals to stick into it. The second part on how to generate the energy is that the company must be on a dynamic marketplace. There must be a dynamic marketplace, and thirdly, there must be an history and the legacy of accomplishment by the organization. By that, most of the workforce would lean on it and gain more energy to work more, to generate more income that will bring about the customer, high value for the customer and the investors. And the last key aspect that I'm going to bring to you is the discipline that is used in bringing about the peak performing workforce. According to Charles Schwab, the director of Charles Schwab's Financial Corporation, it actually said that self-discipline is the center of the equation of a peak performing workforce. And self-discipline is not any other thing than a set rules that modify, that mold and perfect individual to achieve a peak performing workforce. If you appreciate this video and you want me to do something more like more of this, you can drop a comment in the comment section, and you can also do me a favor by liking the video and commenting on it. Thank you.